Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the LMS Summer Split here. Game 3 coming up between Machi Esports Club and Hong Kong Attitude. Game 1 was taken by the side of Hong Kong Attitude, while Game 2, Machi 17 striking back with a little bit of a team fighting competition of their own. Of course, the story goes, team fighting winning both of these games so far. Whenever one of these teams tried a slightly kind of split push slash more intelligent game plan, they ended up falling a bit flat on their face, and the team fight composition were able to group up and just roll over each other in both games. So we'll see if most of these teams maybe look for that style, or maybe one of these teams is going to try their hand again at the maybe 1-3-1 or something of that relevance. We'll see what these teams have in mind. Bans coming out so far, it's going to be the Cassidon, Gragas, and Caitlyn on the side of Machi 17. Banning away that Caitlyn on the blue side is always interesting. Might mean that they don't want to give it away, but they're not willing to first pick it, which is kind of strange. Most teams are willing to first pick that one, but maybe D is very comfortable playing on it. Maybe they don't think they can play around it very well. Either way, it's going to be the Callista, Talia, and Zac ban on the red side. So Talia again banned away here. Nobody wants to give over that very powerful roaming mid laner, and Callista also taken away. The team fighting monster that she is, would make sense that these teams don't want to give it over to the others. Braum first picked it here actually for the side of Machi 17, so already hinting at maybe a bit of team fighting presence. Thresh, strangely not first picked here. I suppose it didn't work last game, so they're sticking to what's been working in this series so far, adapting to their own little mini meta. Usually do see that sometimes when the series, especially when they go to game 3 games, you just kind of pick out what's working for you at the moment. Hong Kong Attitude going to be picking up the Sejuani and Ashe combo. So looking for a lot of engage on their side. It's pretty clear, even early on, what they probably want to do with this one. Elise probably going to be picked here by Taizan. Going to offer a lot of early game pressure. He's going to have to take that and run with it against the Sejuani. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to punish the Sejuani pick. Like I said, it is getting close to the tank meta here, but that doesn't mean that the squishy offensive junglers are necessarily dead and buried. You can still pick them and take advantage of the tank's early weaknesses, and if you can snowball properly, you can get big enough advantages. You can make so the tank never even comes into play. It does take a little bit of doing though. The tanky team composition is obviously a lot easier to pull off, so that's why a lot of teams like to go for that one. Apex going to lock into Corki as well. So they've locked down their mid laner. Corki, I believe, has been picked in all 3 games now. Yep, definitely he has. So Apex can be running it this time. I believe they swapped it up a little bit. And Mission is going to be on the Orianna pick. So again, a lot of team fighting. That's what you can say so far from Hong Kong Attitude. A lot of CC, a lot of team fighting. Some good pick potential as well. They can engage fights very well. Good ball delivery system already onto the Sejuani. So it's going to be the Orianna versus Corki matchup. Corki probably going to win that out a little bit early. Orianna, of course, just going to pretty much nullify the lane with wave clear, though. There's a lot of opportunities for Corki to roam, though. Of course, this Orianna pick is going to be looking to work with the likes of the Sejuani. Very lethal combination. Get hit by that Sejuani ult, you're definitely going to be followed up upon by the shockwave, so you got to be careful. Bans in second phase coming through here. It will be the Jace taken away from Riris. Even though they won that last game, they almost lost it to the split pushing of the Jace, which had a lot of pressure. The Thresh going to be taken away as well from the side of Machi 17, so looking to make Kai Wing play something different this game. He did pull out the Blitzcrank, and he might do so again, actually. Not sure if that's their priority right now, if they're looking for something a little bit different. Trundle being hovered right now. They are going to switch over to the Jarvan, which I think makes a lot more sense for their team composition. And I'm interested to see what the support is going to be from the side of Hong Kong Attitude. Will they go with the Blitzcrank again? It's what Kai Wing defaulted to the last time Thresh wasn't available. Jhin, meanwhile, being locked in, or at least hovered for the side of Machi. Varus taken away, so they're looking in another direction as far as CC and possible engage goes for 80 carries. Jhin does offer that with the Deadly Flourish, the long-range CC tool, and as well the ultimate can be used as an engage tool. Soft engage, but if you have some proper follow-up, it could work. And Machi 17 flirting with this 1-3-1 team composition here. They're looking to... The thing about the 1-3-1 team composition, yes, it is harder to pull off, but you actually in most cases, you have the onus to actually make the plays early. So if you're a good team and you believe in your macro play, that's the thing. It comes down. There's a lot of macro play that has to be done in a 1-3-1. Very complicated to pull off. You got to have a lot of communication and teamwork. Whereas the team fighting composition, yes, you have to do well not to fall too far behind, but as long as you're relatively close and you can start grouping up, it becomes very difficult if you're Machi 17 and you haven't pulled out a decent enough lead at that point. Machi 17 going with it. Hong Kong Attitude going with what's worked so far is going to be, will Machi 17 be able to evolve mid-series here and finally be able to pull off the complicated team composition? They defaulted to the team comp that just groups up last game, and they were able to take that one. But now they're saying, okay, we've built some confidence up in Game 2. We got that win under our belt. We know we messed it up a bit in Game 1, but we're ready to try it again. I like that coming out from Machi 17. They're taking the priority here. They're going to be making the look to make the early plays. And it's actually a Lulu pick coming out from Kaiwing, which is very interesting. Doesn't exactly fit the team composition. More picked, I suppose, to help win this lane. So they want to have, they definitely want to have at least one pushing lane here, because Jarvan will be pushing early, but he'll eventually, that matchup will turn around pretty quickly if they're not able to get it rolling. As we see the coaches shake hands there. We will go ahead and jump right into this game. So the Camille versus the Jarvan in the top lane. Jarvan definitely has better wave clear early. Of course, the Q is going to be offering a lot of pushing power. So there might be some top lane focus here. Camille going to be very important in this matchup. And Apex taking the cleanse, I really like this adaptation. It's something Mission didn't do last game. He took the teleport and he ended up getting punished so hard, especially by that Sejuani. And now they have an Ashe, they have an Orianna. You do not want to get locked up by that CC. You'll not be long for this world. Apex learning from Mission's mistake. So I like that adaptation, first of all. It's going to help you play more aggressively around these objectives and not fall prey to the hard engage. Machi 17 going to be looking to make picks and play around these towers, look to pull Hong Kong Attitude around the map. They do not want to let them group up. And if they do, they want to make sure they have some sort of split pushing advantage going on. As far as these lanes go, Gemini will have an opportunity to possibly camp the top side if he wants to shut down. It's important to shut down at least one of these split pushers, and Camille would be a good option. There's a lot of good gank assistance with the Jarvan. Of course, if you land the knock-up from either one of the champions, you can chain it into the next one. Bot side, I have a feeling Hong Kong Attitude is just going to leave this bot side to its own devices. It's a very strong lane with the Ashe Lulu. As you can see, pushing very far forward. Unified dropping pretty low. He's got to be careful of the 4-shot. Heal comes through. Flash from D. Doesn't want to give over that first blood. Stun lands, though, onto Kaiwing. He's forced to flash out. And now here comes Taizan. Dreamer dropping pretty low, but he stays long enough to bait in the kill. First blood going over to Taizan. Unified forced to flash over the wall. And that was a strange play from Hong Kong Attitude. I feel like they pushed way too far. They got a really good trade. And why not just back off and take the push lead at that point? You know your jungler started topside, and you can assume Taizan started Raptor red, so he'll be able to get there a lot faster than your jungler. They didn't respect the collapse, or probably expect it so soon. They end up giving up first blood and burning all their summoners. So I was gonna say these teams will probably leave the bot lane to their own devices, but now that all the summoners are burned, that actually opens up a lot of gank potential on this bot side. So let's take a look at this replay. They actually get a decent trade. Dreamer, of course, getting chunked out. So they know he started red buff. They see Dreamer is super low. So they know if they stay too long, Elise could just roam down, and they're going so aggressive. I feel like here, when you force D to flash out, you got to just completely back off. Kaiwing stayed for a little bit extra damage. They were able to chase through, and now Taizan's already here. It's pretty easy to flash forward and get that first blood. So a little bit of an overstep there from the Hong Kong Attitude bot lane. That's definitely not what you want. You don't want to give Machi 17 an advantage that they can abuse with this team composition. We'll see how it plays out, though. Of course, the kills didn't go over to the bot side for Machi 17, and they blew most of their summoner spells, so they might even struggle a bit in lane after this one. First blood, though, going over to the Elise. That's going to do wonders. She's going to work to get these lanes going. If she can get either the Corki or the Camille rolling, that will do wonders in helping them achieve their winning conditions. We always talk about these win conditions. Of course, it's very important competitive play to know what your win condition is and play to it. Not so much in solo queue because you can't really coordinate with your team that much, but in competitive play, you definitely can. which gives a big advantage to whichever team has better communication, of course. Gemini on this Sejuani pick. Definitely looking to farm it up here and hit level 6 so you can have that really impactful gank with her ult. Might have to do a bit of counter jungling, though, to hold off the Elise from snowballing these lanes too hard. Jarvan, of course, as we mentioned, going to have to push in the top lane. I expect a bit of aggression here from at least one of these junglers to the top side. Either Machi17 going to look to get that Camille rolling, or Gemini is going to try to stop the Camille from getting rolling. Of course, I expect the mid lane pretty much to just be farm, farm, farm. I don't expect too much gank pressure, especially since they're both running cleanse. So it's going to be hard pressed. Flash in here from Dreamer. They're looking to punish the Summonerless bottom lane, and Kaiwing is going to get obliterated. That is a kill going over to D. He is feeling very happy about that one. 2 kills to nothing now for the side of Machi17. Striking early and often in the bot lane, and that's what we mentioned. Bot lane summoners getting burned so early means that this early aggression from Taizan is even more enunciated as the mobility boots are picked up on the Elise, so she is looking to get ganks off fast and furious. Infernal Drink will be the first one to spawn, which we've seen actually, I believe it was Hong Kong Attitude, it managed to sneak an Infernal Drake last game. So we'll see if Machi17 is a bit more wise to that one. Taizan going to be holding this lane, so Apex can get a cheeky little recall off. Riris hiding out of vision here. See how this top lane matchup goes. It's a very interesting one, because Jarvan most likely just trying to survive this lane. If he can get a kill, I mean, that would be out of this world, amazing for him, but that's not really what you pick the Jarvan for. You mostly pick it to survive the laning phase and then offer so much to these team fights. Here comes 3Z in. He might like his chances here. Cataclysm is up though for Riris, so he has to be careful. Nice shield coming down, get a block. He's going to wait for it to go down. Flash forward from Riris. One more auto will do the trick. Does he have the range? 3Z just pouncing away. And that is as close as you're going to get to going down. Riris, unfortunately for him, not able to pick up the kill. 3Z misplaying that one just a tad. Not sure how he thought he was going to turn that one around. Good patience by Riris to wait out the physical shield. Jump in. So that's flashes blown on both sides. And they will both end up likely TPing back to lane here. So again, flash is now blown on the top side. They may look to be punishing that one very soon. Summoner's almost up for everybody in that bottom lane. Except for Dreamer, of course. He burned his to get that kill just now. So over a 1,000 gold lead already for Machi17. They're very happy about how this one starts. Corki just wants to be farming up here in the mid lane. Once he gets that, package Trinity Force Spike combo, he might look to make some roams. Mostly it's going to be Taizan working around these side lanes, though, trying to get them rolling. Already done wonders in the bot lane. Gemini did spot out Taizan. Ping goes down. They may be looking for a dive, but Gemini is in the area ready for the counter gank. No level 6 yet on the Sejuani, though, so still, if there's 2 members here from Hong Kong Attitude, I doubt they will want to go for this dive. Will they be able to land the cocoon? Actually, stun goes down. There's the Camille ult. He has nowhere to go. Flashing from Gemini, trying to buy some time, but to no avail. It's just going to be a summoner used for nothing. And that was Riris trying to bait it out, but not respecting the damage and CC coming in from the side of Machi17. We mentioned the kill potential coming from the Hong Kong Academy side, but there's a lot of CC on the side of Machi17 on that top side as well. If you can land the cocoon or the repel stun, or grapple hook stun, I should say, from 3Z, you can lock somebody up for a decent amount of time. And once you drop that Camille ult, as you could see, Riris tried to EQ out of there, but nowhere to go, except the graveyard, unfortunately. Pretty much dead even here in the mid lane. It's actually the Hex Drinker rush coming out from Apex, so he's going to be playing this one quite defensively. Nice stun going to land. Mission forced to pop cleanse. He's dropping pretty low. Taizan not going to go too deep for that. Big one connecting, though. Mission all of a sudden feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Still has his flash up, but pressure all over the place from Taizan. This is exactly what you want to see. That's what you pick. And you can see the tanks, yes, they are strong, but they're very slow in the early game to get going. And as you can see, you pick a champion like Elise or a Lee Sin or a Rek'Sai, and you can really punish them if the lanes from Hong Kong Academy don't respect it. And guess what? They did the opposite of respect it. They disrespected it. And they're paying for it right now, being down 3-0 kills just over 9 minutes into this game. Healthy gold lead opening up for Machi17. And now they got their eyes set on this blue buff. They want to be able to take that away from Mission as well. Looking to set up some deep vision And they have the priority in the mid lane. Mission is chunked out, so I don't think they'll be able to do a very good job of contesting this one. They do have a pink ward on it, though, so they know it's at least not started up. Gemini managing to spot that one out. See if Machi actually want to contest the blue buff, or if they're just looking for some information. You might not want to make that aggressive play just yet. Of course, there is a lot of pick potential on Hong Kong Attitude. Ashe ult, Sejuani ult, Orianna ult, just to name a few. TP are not up for the top laners, though, so they won't be able to join in enough fun if anything happens to occur. They got 2 lanes pushing now, though. This bottom side of the map completely belongs to M17 right now in terms of pressure. Apex picking up that package, looking to get an early roam. He has the Hex Drinker. Not going to do too much in helping him against the damage from Riris, but his presence alone is enough to make him run all the way back, almost to his tier 2 tower. As you can see, this top lane matchup just with one visit from Taizan, swooping so much in the favor of the Camille. She already starts to outscale Jarvan, but when she's given a head start, it can turn ugly really quickly. Might see Gemini trying to stabilize this matchup. There's always that internal debate in junglers. Do I play around my winning lanes, or do I try to help my losing lanes to try to get back into it? Looks like there's a tower dive going on, and they will just burst him down so quickly. No chance to even respond. 3Z has tower aggro, but he should be able to get out of here. One more shot's going to drop him pretty low. Ashe arrow will just barely not land. Oh man, if Camille wasn't so skinny, that might have grabbed her on the backside there. She is able to get out of that one. All that CrossFit training is paying off for 3Z in the top lane. Looking fit and looking healthy. 2-0-0 onto this Camille. And that is disastrous if you're Hong Kong Academy. Using this Elise Pit so well. I'm loving this out of Taizan. And Mission now might be in a bit of trouble. He does not have Cleanse. He does have Flash. He gets hit by the Cocoon, though. Flash forward. Kaiwing on the roam, though, is going to buy him some time. Mission forced the Flash over the wall. Dreamer roams up as well. Shockwave used. Flash in from 3Z. He wants the kill. He's going to get the kill. Dreamer steals away that one. Bloodthirsty support. Loving that. Nice play, though, from Machi17. Aggressively pushing this lead. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Machi17. They have to take the early priority away. Punish Hong Kong Academy. As you can see in his bot side now, Unified all of a sudden very lonely. Does not quite have his support. Kaiwing still has the flash available, though, so probably won't be getting caught out anytime soon. Was forced to use the ult, so that means Machi17 might have a little bit of advantage in trades going forward. As we take a look at this replay, Mission with very little vision of the top side. He has the control ward, so he thinks he's safe, but doesn't quite expect the Taizan to be showing out of the jungle. And nice TP coming in from 3Z, and it's very hard to stop a Camille, especially when you have such little damage available to you. Cataclysm was still not available for Riris, so hard to lock her down. Able to swoop in and grab that kill for himself. It was actually Dreamer who ended up getting it. Not the worst thing in the world. Dreamer is pretty much the only front line that's going to be available for Machi17. That's why they need to snowball this comp. But getting some gold onto your Braum, not the worst thing in the world. He'll be able to stand in the front lines for a little bit now. Early, very early, extremely early QSS coming out of D on that Jhin. He is not playing for damage right now. He just wants to get the utility off and stay alive. And I do like that. He's going to prevent a lot of the hard engaged combinations coming through. Apex now on this Corki. Feeling very good. Pulling out to a bit of a CS lead. He's had a lot of pressure here. Now from Taizan and the Camille. And he's done very well in lane himself. Keeping safe on this Corki, farming it up. Hex Drinker Rush is going to make sure that he doesn't get bursted down quite as easily from this combo. Gemini here has been absolutely locked up in the jungle. Overwhelmed by the early game pressure from Taizan. He's just been a little late to all these parties. Going down without him. They are going to spot out Taizan on that ward. He's going to go ahead and steal up this red buff, and I'm not sure there's much Gemini can do unless he gets a steal off. You're going to recognize the roam coming down. Ashe arrow flies wide. Unfortunately for them, that would have been a nice pick, but I'm pretty sure it was called out, actually, by the way they reacted to that one. But it's a swap here from Machi17. They get the push priority in the bot lane. They roam their bot lane up, just putting pressure all over the place right now. Playing with this team comp very well. This is really what you want to see if you're a fan of Machi Esports. Taizan again making a run to the top side, looking to absolutely bury this Jarvan, and he steps way too far forward, gets locked up by the combo, and exploded. Wow, Rarus is not having a good game on this Jarvan. He's missing the Jace pick. He's holding a picture of Jace in his arms, crying tears of pain and suffering. Not tears of joy, unfortunately. He is 0-3-0 now on this Jarvan. This Camille is absolutely running away with this game in combination with Taizan. Gotta leave a lot of credit over to the Elise. They picked the early game jungler, and they're making it work. 6-0 kills now in favor of Machi17. They're up 4,000 gold just under 15 minutes into this game. That is a little bit absurd. Infernal Drake now available. Machi17 still have to be careful that they don't disrespect the Hong Kong Attitude team comp. They still have very, very good team fighting, as well as insane amounts of engage. But problem is they're so far behind right now, they may not even want to use it, and they've lost complete pressure over this. Dragon, of course, with 2-3 pushing lanes, actually, it makes it pretty easy for Machi17 to take these objectives relatively easily. A lot of delayed item builds coming out here. Actually, a lot of defensive builds coming, and Mercury Treasure being rushed there for mission. He's tired of getting locked up, even with the cleanse. He keeps getting hit by these darn cocoons. Hex Drinker and QSS from the 280 carries of Machi17. So, a lot of damage in this game, but also, as a result of that, a lot of defensive builds coming out. Machi17 thought process is we have the lead, so if we build defensively, we can maintain it. Great defense is a good offense. Something like that. Package picked up by Apex, so we'll see if he looks to make a play with a roam. He honestly has a lot of options at this point. The only thing he wants to avoid is getting a bit too close to the engage before he's poked Mission out a little bit too much. If you can get the poke down onto Mission or Gemini, then you can start to step a bit far forward. He does have the cleanse as well, so he's feeling pretty confident. With cleanse package, I don't see how you would possibly die unless you use them both to engage for some reason. That would be interesting. Wouldn't mind seeing that. Taizan again making a visit to the top side. He's going to spot out this ward. Farm advantage right now for the Camille is getting a bit out of hand. Basically 50 CS up now, and they're looking to just dive once again. Sejuani will be up here, but will she be there in time? Rurus, he's seen this movie before. He knows what's happening. He's thinking about staying to defend the tower. He's not going to. It will go down. That's first brick gold going over to Machi17 as well. Just relentless pressure in this top side. I'm loving the top lane focus here from Taizan. It's what you expect. You want to get one of these pushing, these split pushers going, and Camille is definitely the right one to choose. It's the Orianna lane a lot harder to gank. You know, mid lane is a lot shorter of a lane, as well as the fact that Mission has cleanse. So punishing that top side is just brilliant for Machi17. Gemini, a little bit late, as we said, to the party. A lot of these times, not quite able to show up for the counter gank. Some pings going down onto the Camille. They may look to turn this one around. The disengage came onto the Rift Herald, so Machi17 did not want to overstay their welcome. Hong Kong Attitude still not willing to engage onto this Camille. That Ash Arrow, not sure what exactly that was aiming for. It's not going to hit anybody. It could have been aiming for the Corki, to be fair, but clearly did not connect, unfortunately, for Unified. He's thrown a few up here. You got to credit him for keeping trying. Third time, however, was not the charm, unfortunately, for Hong Kong Attitude. A lot of CC on this bot side, actually, especially now that these players have gotten all their ultimates, almost level 2 ultimates now on both sides. Mostly been a farm fest down here. Not a lot of kill potential because the Braum is going to provide all that defensive peel, and the Ashe Lulu is usually going to have the push advantage unless they are feeling pressured somehow, which they have been a lot of this game. Whenever Elise goes missing, you always tend to be a little bit scared. Elise, similar to Evelynn, actually, in that way, where you kind of want to play it like you're playing against an Evelynn, where if Elise is off the map, you don't have vision, or adequate vision, you kind of just want to play very passively, because if she shows up, you can die almost immediately. She offers so much damage and so much CC, especially earlier on in the game, obviously, and especially when she's 1-0-5. Gemini trying his best to out-farm Elise, at least. Definitely not going to be out-ganking him after the start that Taizan had. 3Z going to be soloing out this Rift Herald, just Camille things when you're 3-0-1 and about 30 CS up. Just things you can do. Trinity Force completed onto this Camille. And the Corki. This is a big power spike here from Machi17, actually. Infinity Edge as well onto the Jhin. Definitely looking to take advantage of the mid-game here, our Machi17. start to get these favorable fights. They're like Machi 17 is all about the skirmishing. They love the skirmishing here. They love getting poke damage down. They got the Corki, they got the Jin, and then they love getting picks as well. Hong Kong Attitude trying to group here, get the Cataclysm onto Apex, flashes away from the Sejuani ult. He will be safe, forced to blow the Summoner. I like the proactive moves, at least from Hong Kong Attitude. They don't want to roll over and die without a fight. Fortunately for them, it's going to be very hard to get in onto this backline. Braum going to be doing a good job to shield it up as well. Unified on this Ashe. He's got the IEN Zeal. Technically, he is ahead of D as far as items go, but that's only because the QSS was rushed. He wants to stay safe onto this Jin. He knows his team has enough damage. He's just looking for the utility and offer it. Obviously, he's going to be doing some damage in these fights, but not quite as much as he could be because he is prioritizing the defensive stats. The Rift Herald is going to be summoned in the mid lane, so they're looking to start knocking down these towers, and that will be a mid tower going down no matter what. That's just going to one-shot it. So good play by Machi 17. They decide that they want just to get that one tower in the mid lane. And that is very crucial. Now that they've opened up the mid lane, they can look to take complete vision control of this blue side area, push them off the bottom lane tower, and take that one as well. That's exactly what Machi 17 want to do. They want to catch Hong Kong Attitude in these bad rotations, look to get the pick. Ashe Arrow going to connect onto Taizan. He's dropping somewhat low, but he should be able to get out here. Gemini rushing forward, trying to get the engage. Unified taking a decent chunk of damage. Hong Kong Attitude not quite able to find the engage they're looking for. Curtain Call opens up. Oh, almost lands onto Kai Wing at the back end there, but he's able to skirt around it. No kills going over, but that's 2 towers in just under a minute for Machi 17, and they're working on their third. Riris was forced to try to, I guess not forced, but decided to group up with his team trying to get an engage off, but Machi 17 playing it intelligently, just kiting back, taking all the objectives. That's going to be another tower. 4-0 now in the favor of Machi 17. Using this team comp very well so far. You got to give huge props to Taizan on this Elise, making this pick work so well. Game 1, it was the team fight composition that won. Game 2, it was the team fight composition that won. And in both those games, the other team had a split pushing with an early game jungler. So you'd think that these teams would be not wanting to play that and just stick with this team fighting, but huge credit to Machi 17. They say, we think we're the better team. We think we can pull it off. And indeed, they are doing so far. Of course, it is not over yet, but with a basically 8,000 gold advantage at 22 minutes, it is not looking good for Hong Kong Attitude. I always want to say Hong Kong Academy, because that's usually what the A stands for. It's not Academy, though. They have Attitude, and they're from Hong Kong. Not the case, but anyways, back to the game. Hong Kong Academy, oh my god, Hong Kong Attitude, I've put it in my head now. Hong Kong Attitude, they need to start finding these fights and grouping up, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge if Machi 17 can play it correctly, but Hong Kong Attitude need to start putting down some good vision, and with the vision they can look to get these catches and force 5v5 fights. They're getting muscled out here, though. They do still have to keep control of their side lanes. So you can see this Camille putting a lot of pressure down. TP's up for both top laners, so they'll have it available. Hong Kong Attitude need to be careful that they don't get poked out too hard while looking for the engage, because there is re-engage tools from the side of Machi. They have the Braum ult as well as Camille flying in. Worst case scenario, Camille could force the engage with the Hextech Ultimatum. That's the one. Here comes the engage, though. Nice combo going to land onto the Elise. He repels away from the arrow, but he's got nowhere to go, and that's a good pick from Hong Kong Attitude, punishing Taizan for feeling a bit too confident on that Elise. That's what you want to see. Fortunately for them, I'm not sure how much they'll be able to get off the back end of that. They didn't really have any pressure in either of these lanes. It's just going to be a kill, but a kill is a kill. They're on the board. They're at least not going to give over the perfect game. They're still yet to pick up a tower or really do any damage to one. So as well, or as good as getting a kill is, if you're not able to pick up anything off of it, it doesn't mean much, to be honest. Package available for this Corki. See if he looks to make a play with it. Pings go down. They do spot him out here. Mission's not quite alone, but he's got teammates a little bit far away. They'll be regrouping now, trying to push away Apex on this Corki, who is very threatening. No kills to his name, but he's got a very healthy amount of farm. He is highest level in the game. Tied for it, at least. Got that Trinity Force. He's actually going, looks like he's going Infinity Edge next, which is interesting. Sometimes you see the Rapid Fire built second. It's going to be that Infinity Edge, though. He's looking for the big deeps, big damage. A lot of pressure being put on the bot lane tower here from 3Z. This Camille just running away with this game right now. Riris doing his best to hold him off, but he's so far behind on this Jarvan. It is kind of insane. Thought maybe there was a chance for a Flame Horizon here from 3Z on this Camille, but Jarvan's going to be CSing under tower relatively well. Taizan looking to recapture the success from the early game, pairing up with Camille. It's possible they could look for the tower dive, but they're not willing to risk it. They don't quite have all the information. Most of Hong Kong Attitude are on this top side, and they're prioritizing this red buff. They're giving up a lot of pressure in these lanes, though. Of course, Machi17 do still have to respect the engage coming down. They may look to just go and push the tower off here. They will be able to pick this one up, so that's 5-0 in towers now for Machi17. That's exactly the kind of score you want to see when drafting this team composition. Crucial that they don't give away towers, because if Hong Kong Attitude were able to pick up some towers, that means it's easier to get vision, which means it's easier to force fights, which is exactly what they want to do. And here comes the forced engage. Speaking of, Apex is going to be able to Valk over the wall, though, to safety. He has Flash and Cleanse, so it's going to be very hard to find and engage onto him. QSS picked up by the Jhin as well, so looks like they'll have to try to engage onto Taizan is probably the priority target at the moment. Fortunately for them, even maybe Dreamer would do. A little bit less. Here comes the dive, though. Cataclysm going to be popped, trying to save himself from going down, but there is no savior for this Jarvan. He is doomed. Meanwhile, Curtain Call opened up. They zoned out mission. Flash forward. Shockwave trying to buy himself some time, but I'm afraid he's not going to be long for this world. Flash forward from Apex. Not quite able to land it, actually. Dreamer going to Braum ult over the wall just to buy some time for Apex. He will land the last rocket. Sniper Corki on duty. That's another kill going over 2 for 0 now in this little exchange. They picked up the top lane tower and inhibitor as well. So they do give over a kill in the end, but they get 2 kills, an inhib tower and an inhibitor. So I'd say worth. Looks like they will pick up another tower in the mid lane. That's the inner going down. Hong Kong Academy getting absolutely ran around the map right now, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're Machi17. You do not want to get these 5v5s. What you want to do is you want to pull and push the pressure here and there across the map and force Hong Kong Attitude to spread their resources, and as soon as they do, they start to pick people off. As you can see, Mission got picked off. Riris got dove. I mean, that's a common story this game. Machi17 playing this team comp to perfection so far. Very glad to see that out of them. We have over a 10,000 gold lead, 27 minutes into this game. There will be a pause. Looks like Hong Kong Attitude seeing if they can, as they still have the white flag, seeing if they're able to pull that one out. Maybe try to regroup. Tactical pause, perhaps. Of course, those aren't allowed. That's just a trope. Looks like we'll be able to skip this one, though. Not too long of a pause. We'll get back into this game here with the magic of VODs. 3Z on this Camille is an absolute monster this game. Paying back Riris for the punishment he was dulled out in the previous game. Of course, it was 3Z who I believe was on the Jarvan, and Riris was on the Jace, and he was bullying. Oh, it was Renekton, actually, 3Z was on, but he fell far behind quite early, and he just kept getting punished by Riris, so a little bit of a revenge story for the Camille here. And now Baron is all of a sudden a real objective, and with that bot lane inhibitor down there, going to have to constantly have somebody over there. TP is up, though, for Riris, so at least they'll be able to regroup if needed. Machi17, with all the turrets that aren't base turrets taken right now, going to look to slow the pace down a little bit, take control of this Baron area. Of course, they're going to look to push this mid lane as well, get mid priority, and if they can catch Hong Kong Attitude trying to keep vision for too long, they can actually just rotate down, looking to get the catch here onto Mission. No tower to go back to. He's trying to juke, but that's just buying time for M17 to group up. Shockwave doing absolutely nothing there. Here comes the engage. Gemini dropping low on that Sejuani. He's tanky, but he's not nearly tanky enough. Burns him down through the wild growth as well. And you would say Machi17 usually don't want to force a fight, but when you're 10k gold ahead, it really doesn't matter at that point. They're able to play that very intelligently. They get the catch. They force the bad Shockwave out. Gemini not even able to use his ult that fight, and this is going to be turned onto the Baron. There's no spite up for Hong Kong Attitude, so they pretty much have no chance of getting into this one. And here comes the re-engage. Kai Wing getting absolutely obliterated. Soon to be next is Unified. Pops the heal, pops the flash. He managed to get away for now, but he's going to get flung on by 3Z. He goes down. Another kill on to Riris in the top lane. He is probably 0-20 and something at this point. Not having the greatest game on the Jarvan. Beautifully played by M17. They should be able to end it here, to be honest. First Nexus Tower is going to drop. Horo, Ryder, Sejuani looking very sad, and that's going to be the second Nexus Tower going down. Will they be able to pick up all the kills here? Mission going to be hiding back. Gets exhausted, trying to maybe get a turn kill. It will be game 3, and series going over to M17, establishing their dominance in game 3. That was an absolute stomp. It was just that one misplay early on from the side of Hong Kong Attitude in the bot lane, where they burned both their summoners and gave first blood over to the Elise. And the Elise came back again, punished them. She went to the top side, got the Camille rolling. Taizan, 100% player of the game. He absolutely made that pick work. Credit to Machi17 for drafting that team comp, which had failed for both teams. Not the exact same team comp, but the style had failed for both teams in game 1 and 2. They pull it out in game 3, and they play it to perfection. GG, well played to Machi17, earning that series victory.